Welcome back to the YouTube channel. I just got over here to the shop, B&K Performance. Brian's been kicking tail on this Mustang over here. This is our buddy John. This is going to be a small block boost car this year, so Brian's doing a lot of work to it. Let me show you what he's got. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Go to turbojohnracing.com to get you some merchandise. So y'all seen this thing a little bit on the channel before. Biggest thing that Bryan is doing is changing everything. So this thing had a race pack in it, and it had Big Stuff 3 on it with a power grid setup. So John wanted to go faster, and so one of the ways to do that, it was on Q16, is to swap it over to methanol. So it's swapping over to methanol, swapping over to Holley EFI. He's got this nice speed wire stuff over here. So Bryan is in the process of wiring all the Holley up now. It's getting closer, but still got, you know, ways to go. But you can see it's got the Holley box in there. This thing is super nice. This is a small block Ford, and it's got SC1 heads on it. And they just pulled the headers off of it. So part of the Holley, part of the data acquisition that it's going to get is EGTs. So with the EGTs, we're fixing to weld the bungs in it real fast. Now this thing's going to have a monster turbo on it. Like I was saying, it's going to run in small block boost. So it's going to have a 118 turbo on it as well. And it's going to be fast, we hope. So they're working on getting the headers out now. It also is going to be putting a mechanical pump on it. It had a mechanical pump on it before, but it was a smaller one. He's gonna have to do some work to the motor plate to get this thing so the front pump, the fuel pump will go over here. So the fuel pump he got for this one is an Enderley that is, I think it was 17 gallons a minute. So this thing is nice. We usually use the cast iron ones, but these are the ones that are the better ones. So it's an Enderley pump. It flows like 17 gallons a minute, so it flows a lot of fuel. Now this car is, I don't know, I don't know if it would be considered a full tube chassis car or not. I don't know if it would be or not. I don't think so. All this stuff up here is still stock stuff. All this is stock. Of course, it's cut off from here, but it's got the factory location for the front struts. It kind of depends on which class you're in. The factory frame rail down here, it's got some factory firewall still in it. You know, of course, it's got all sheet metal in the floor here. But this thing is super nice. In this car to be a contender in small block boost, I mean, it's a nice built car. 4-link car. Now, in small block boost this year, you got to be 2,650 pounds. So it's one of those things with a great big turbo. It's got to add weight to it. But it's just, you know, it's a nice car. So it's going to hopefully work really well with, you know, the combination. So it's a nice piece. Very, very, very nice car. So hopefully, Bryan will probably be done with this hopefully in a week or so, 2 weeks. And the first race for this one is coming up in about a month. So it's got a little ways on time-wise. So this is the EGT kit that he's going to put in. So this stuff is pretty cool. And basically what you do is this thing has 8 individual EGT motor. EGT stands for exhaust gas temperature. And so it's really neat. We've never used this before, so this will be the first one. We're also going to put it on Randy's car just because, you know, it's a way to get some better data. And anytime you have, the more data you have, the better. Part number on this box, you can see it there. So basically, it looks like it just plugs in CAN bus. So this is just 2 plugs to the Holley. And then you got some work to do on the actual setting it up in the computer. So we're going to have to read these instructions. It shouldn't be too bad, though. So we'll log all that stuff on. Then you've got the actual connectors. These actually go into, that's the EGT. It's a Type K thermocouple. This is the bung that actually welds into the header, and basically it just comes on, it slides on here. This is a compression fitting, and so you get it to the right depth in the header, and then you tighten it down. So this should be pretty easy. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go weld these on. He's already got one header prepped. It's got the holes in it, so we're going to just set this up real fast, put them on, and weld them real fast. The other one real fast. and this one will be ready. I'm gonna go over my welder settings real fast too. So you see this stuff is real thin, it's stainless steel stuff, maybe 60 thousandths. And then this stuff, of course, is a little thicker. It's all stainless steel. But my welder settings, now this is a TIG 200. So this is pretty easy. I got it on 4T. The way I have mine set up, I don't use a foot pedal. I just use the little trigger here. You press it and let go, and then that starts to work. And then you press it again when you want to turn it off, and it gradually goes down. So TIG 200, it's on TIG up there at the top. That's the amperage. It's on, this is the pulse feature here. And then it's on DC. So the way this one works is very simple, and it's taken a little bit of work for me to figure out what kind of works the best. But so you got a pre-flow of a half a second, and that's, I might need to turn that up actually. And that's just, I'm gonna turn that up to a second. Basically, that's the time when you press the button to where it actually starts the arc. It just gets the gas so you got a good coverage. And then you just advance through here. Start amps is 20 amps, and that way it gradually comes in. And then the upslope is 2 seconds, so it takes 2 seconds to go from the time I press the button to get it going. Peak amps, 60 amps. Peak on time, I do 50-50, so on 50. Base amps, or pulse frequency, this thing pulses 1 time a second. So it goes zzz, zzz, zzz. So that just is easier for me to weld. Base amps are 40%. And then this is the downslope, 3 seconds. So that's when I press the button to go off. It goes off, and then 10 amps at the very, very end is what it kind of goes down to. And then you got a post flow of 6 seconds. And that's why you see me holding the torch there. Now, I'm not a professional welder by any means, but this is working pretty decent for what I'm doing. And basically, once I got these settings changed, and so when I'm doing my roll bar tubing, I'm basically cranking this up to about 120 amps. 130 occasionally. It kind of depends. They always say it depends on the thickness of the material you're welding. But what I have found is that that's usually pretty close. But sometimes you want this to be a little bit higher. But that's the way I'm welding it. Not a professional there again. My unprofessional opinion on how to do it. But that's what I did to get these welds here. So they're not terrible. So it literally just sticks out into the port. You just push it through there, and then you've got these ferrules, the nuts, and then the ferrules. Of course, those go on first. So the taper always goes down into there, and that's what actually seals it. And that's also what actually sets this thing as he wants it. And so right there, that's sticking out just a little bit. And so you'll get it where it wants to be. That ferrule will go in there, just like that. And then the locking nut just goes on. And then you tighten it down. And once you tighten it down, then the ferrule locks onto the EGT sensor. And then you're set. You've got to get headers back on the car. And then, it's real simple to get these in and installed. Then we're going to have to go through these instructions and figure out the setup. It looks pretty easy. It just goes on the CAN bus. So that it doesn't seem like it's going to be too hard. Hopefully it's just going to be plug and play. And it shows you in the instructions on actually how to calibrate everything. It's going to actually put it into the Holley and let the Holley log it. So once we get this thing, all this stuff mounted up and wired up, then we'll configure it. Good progress on this thing. So hopefully, like I said, in the next week or so, this thing will be at the track. His car is still over there just hanging out right now. Were you going to work on yours anymore, or are you just going back in the trailer for a little while?
Going back in the trailer for a couple weeks.
He's got to go back in the trailer. They did end up getting all the sheet metal done in the car, so all the sheet metal turned out great. Really, all that's left is finishing the firewall and finishing, the wiring?
Wiring, making another turbo kit.
Brakes. Still got a lot to do to it. It's a lot. It's got a shop full of cars, a bunch of work happening on customers' cars. So this one's going to have to, he's got a lot, this one's made a lot of progress last week too, though. So it's coming. All right, guys, y'all comment, like, and subscribe. We'll see y'all soon. Later.